BMTs are here to improve and maintain good behaviors and reduce bad behaviors. So this can be used in school, sa balay, and sa therapy center. So may I ask one person to explain to me why important ang pag-carry over sa family? Hindi na mo makita ang screen.
It is important na mag-carry over ang activities na kay most of the time ang parents man ang kuyog sa child.
Mm-mm. Okay, so just to inform you that 1 hour ang atong sessions with the kids. So it is really important to provide adequate caregiver or parent education para murag ma-carry over nila sa balay. So for me, treating kids kay difficult jud, and I could really assess if na-carry over ba ang therapy sa balay or wala, because every time I get the kid or like mag-treat ko sa kid, mura big mag-back to zero. So hassle sad for me and hassle sad for the parent kay they are paying for the session. So at this point, we need to be really firm in giving the instructions to the parent and making sure nga ilahan ning gi-apply sa balay jud. Okay? So there are different categories. There are two categories to be exact: positive and negative kanang sides of BMTs. So we have for positive, forward and backward training, positive and negative reinforcement, modeling, shaping, token economy, and contract setting. And for negative, so we have positive and negative punishment, overcorrection, satiation, ignoring, and timeout. Okay, so I would be asking you guys, can you differentiate reinforcement and punishment? Kinsa man, wait, mangita tagkuan diri. Wait lang. Okay, kinsa man diri. Si Claire Villarico. Can you
Yes, miss. Um, Reinforcement miss kay you want to increase the child's behavior and then punishment kay imo siya i-decrease.
Okay, very good. Okay, so ang reinforcement is more of making the child happy, and punishment kay taking away the happiness. Or like dili siya taking away, pero more on dili ma-happy ang kid. Magana na siya. Okay. So reinforcement and punishment. Okay. So positive, we have to keep in mind positive is giving something, negative is taking away. Reinforcement is making the child happy by praising good behavior, and punishment is making the child sad by punishing bad behavior. Okay, so reinforcements increase or maintain desirable behaviors, while punishments remove undesirable behaviors. Okay, wait lang. Ate, moving here. All right. So, as you can see in the picture, what's the difference between positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement? Okay, let's have Alforque.
Positive miss kay murag mo give o reward,
Hmm.
and then negative based sa picture miss.
Yes.
Um what wait. Murag iyang gi take away ang ganahan sa child. For example, kanang gi-get gi-count yung mama.
Okay, so again, ang reinforcement is making the child happy, di ba? So, ang negative reinforcement is getting something na di ganahan sa kid. Negative reinforcement is getting something na di ganahan sa kid in order for them to be happy. Okay, kay reinforcement man ta, di pa man ni punishment. So, it's not taking away something na kanang ganahan sa kid. So, we're taking away something na di ganahan. Okay, since reinforcement pa. Okay, next. Okay, di lang ta mag-watch og videos kay na nag-data ra, so cast your data. Okay, next. The real for Kim, wala na yung si negative punishment. So, si negative punishment, okay, let's look for sa positive punishment ha. So, positive punishment is giving punishment or like something nga makapasad sa kid. So, you are giving them a task that is undesirable. Okay? So, for example, na sila'y bad behavior gibuhat. Positive punishment is giving the person or the child something to do that is undesirable or unfavorable for them. Okay? So negative punishment, mo na ni is getting something nga they do not like. That they like para masad sila. 'Di ba? Punishment makes the kid sad. Okay. Next, let's not watch. Okay, so we need to remember that during our treatments, we need to gradually minimize the reinforcements if the child already learned the behavior. So different atong approach in giving rewards during the first treatment compared sa atong mga ika-15th nga treatment. Okay? Because kanang mas na-learn naman nila. So para mo increase ilang tolerance and their ability to perform the good deed, we will extend the amount of kanang time span nga atong i-give before ta mo give of reinforcement. Okay, so let's avoid jud giving corporal punishment such as hitting, pinching, spanking, and the like. Okay, so dili na siya ato ang job nga mag martial law sa atong kids. Okay, just remember. So, diri jud sa pedia matest ang ato ang patience sa kids. Reconnecting, pupod. Okay, no problem. Guys, for this one, just try to kanang extend help to your co-interns ha. Okay, next, modeling. Does anyone have an idea what modeling is? And what's the difference between modeling and shaping? Okay, mangita ko og kuan diri. Kinsa man atong ikot. Let's have Christy, Maureen. Sure.
Yes, miss.
Okay.
The modeling, miss, is, for example, kanang you let the child imitate what you're doing. So, like ako mag-brush teeth ko, and then I have my brother with me who I want him to brush his teeth. So, pakita na ko niya nga nag-brush ko sa ko teeth inani nga way. So, silbi iyang isunod. And then for the shaping is that kanang imuhang like imo siyang iingon sa in every step on what to do, so like up and down, side to side in terms of brushing the teeth. Kana, miss.
Okay, so what's the difference between shaping?
More in you give praise to the kid if ever nakadu siya sa right thing, like sa right step na imuhang giingon sa iya.
Okay, so for shaping, it's more of the breakdown of the activity. Okay, so for modeling, it is letting the kid perform what you are performing, the whole task jud. For shaping, you are giving reinforcements for every step. Okay, so good job for discussing that. Okay, there are shaping, praising the child for every approximate action taken. Okay. Next. Okay, so chaining. Okay, ako sa back. Kinsa may maka-discuss the difference between backward and forward chaining. Let's have Miss Abigail Katrina. Na si Abigail there. Hello. Wala siya. Okay. How about Miss Joreen Nahid? Are you present? Oy, asa naman niya sila? Hindi may wait lang ha. Itatag. Okay, does anyone want to share lang? backward and forward chaining?
Pwede mo try, miss.
Kinsa man ni? Okay, Donna,
Ay,
go.
joke. From what I've understand, miss, kaya ang forward chaining is like, ang therapist ang mudu sa first few steps since like, usually siya i-do for child nga maglisod og initiate sa activity or sa task. And ang backward chaining is like, ang child ang mudu sa last step. Let's say, for example, if ganahan ta mag-teach sa child og wash sa hands. So, for backward chaining, kay like, na inigwash siya hands. So, ang ido na lang sa child kay iyang i-wipe ang iyang hands with towel and then so on and so forth, miss.
Okay. So, when can you know nga, for Miss Donna gihapon, when can you know when dapat na ta mo level up?
I think, I'm not sure, miss, pero I'll try. Siguro, ana ta makabalo if mo level up ta if kanang makabalo na ang child mo do like na master na niya ang activity. Sakto ba, miss? Di ka sure.
Okay. So, ma-master niya with no verbal prompts or assistance. Okay, good job. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so very good, Miss Donna mo na siya ang kuan. So, ang kaning backward chaining, it's good for children with low self-esteem and confidence. Okay, this is to provide them a sense of accomplishment since marag na naman sila view about the last step. Okay? Okay, next. Backward chaining. Okay, kaning token economy. Have you experienced providing token economy to your kids nga nagtele? Yes? Okay, so providing token economy, si Miss Christy, si siyang tando. Yeah. Okay, so Miss Christy, can you give us an example on how you give or provide token economy?
I'll kuan lang, miss, I'll use my sister as my example
Okay,
since
go.
kanang siya man akong gina-examplean sa tanan akong kuan diri. So, kuan, every time we do an activity, so usually their school gives them three nga mga
Mm.
paperworks. So what I do is that I will let her finish one usa niya nga worksheet. After that one is I'll give her, like, since she likes gummies, so I'll give her the gummies. But then the next two activities, I want her to finish those two activities before I give her the reward na.
Mm.
So more in ako siya gipadugay gani para mas dili siya mag-anad nga, and every first activity na aday token nga mahatag sa kuya.
Okay.
Ana, miss.
So for that is correct. That is token economy. You can also use token economy by acquiring a lot of tokens and then din pa niya ma-reimburse to something bigger. So for example, one activity, one token, if makakomplete siya three activities, so na siya three tokens, then pwede na niya ma-return for something better like an ice cream. Murag mo yang i-use as money kunuhay. Okay? So inana iyahang style sa token economy. Okay? So for the number of tokens collected, kay naa siya equivalent. Okay? So for you, Christy, if you're doing that to your sister, pwede nga para mas ma-increase kay, for example, tulok activities, you give one coin or one token for each activity. Dili ka mo reward diretso. So if maka-compile na siya or na siya 3 ka tokens, then din na pa ka mahatawag gummies. Okay, so inana na ang murag token economy, mas taas-taas ang iyahang buhatonon. So, for example, this one. So, if maka-complete siya 3 stars, then naa siya ball. Okay? So, dapat for token economy, naa siya mga different i-acquire. Like, tulo baron, lima baron ka activities for her to get the reward. All right. Kani, contract setting, does anyone have an idea what it is? Let's call on Civilias. Nag-share man mo. So, pwede sa mo mag-share of minds. Okay, is Civilias there?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Wait, wait. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, miss?
Yes, okay. Hi, Sevilius. So, can you give me an example of contract setting and how we can apply it?
For contract setting, miss, like you agree with the child um about certain behaviors that they may display, and then what can be possible I don't know, punishments or rewards that they may have. And then the contract setting can also extend towards the parent, in which you tell the parent nga dapat si child um, dili siya mo kanang do certain activities prior to the session, or dapat when they arrive at the session it should be on time, and then they should be doing their routine like ingana me.
Mm-mm. Okay, so that is correct. You could really apply it sa house, no? So, for token economy, what I usually do for my kids is na ako'y murag before I start my session, kay especially for behavioral kids, you can really apply this. So, you have a list of murag maghimo mo o kanang to-do list, which serves as our contract for that session. Okay, so let's make a checklist, and part of the checklist are activities na ganahan sa kid. Part of the checklist are the activities that I want him to complete. Okay, so with that, kay once ma-check na mo, din ha, check na mo tanan, din ha pa na mo ihatag ang reward. Okay? So, Murag, you could also, same with what Civilius told you earlier, or he mentioned earlier nga, the parent, guardian, and therapist must also abide. So, pwede ka ng, this can be stretched sa house na sad. So, they can follow the rules or mga things na giset ninyo. Okay, good job. Kani, overcorrection. So, overcorrection, muni ang kanang mga ato i-overcorrect ang kid. Like, for example, if mo throw away siya og mga things. Wait, first number. Okay. So, for example, mo throw sila og thing. Ay, wait. Kita na ba mo tanan o Karate Kid? Karate Kid si Jaden Smith. Okay, so ang katong gibuhat ni Jackie Chan nga katong permi niya gipabuhat katong jacket niya ba ibutang sa kuan. Mo na siya ang overcorrection. Okay? So permi niya ipa-repeat ang activity until murag ma-habit na sa kid ang activity. So overcorrection and satiation are somewhat similar pero different sila in the same way because satiation imong gi-increase or imong gipatagam ang kid. So let's say ang kid nimo keeps on throwing balls. Okay? So inig-throw niya sa balls, mura dyan na. So what you do? Let him throw the balls. Hantod matagam siya. Okay? So muna siya ang satiation. Hantod matagam. Okay? Alright. Kani basic Germany. Positive practice, repetition of the adaptive or desirable behavior, and then negative practice is repetition of kanang maladaptive behavior until the child gets tired. So more satiation ang negative practice. Okay? Alright. So also nani murag story Sir Poy sa ani before na mo nga na siya kid na ganahan kayo or hyper kayo. So what he did, he used the entire session nga gipa treadmill ra niya ang bata. Imagine na. So tungod ana sunod nila session kay wala na makita ang bata. So that is kind. Usa sa strategy. So, dito pwede mong hapak, pero pwede ta mo manipulate. Okay? So, that's what you do. para murag mo control or ma-manipulate ang kid. Okay, so patagamon jud sila. Okay, let's not watch videos. No videos, please. Okay, kani, ignoring. To whom shall we provide ignoring nga BMT? Let's have kinsa may inaan natin. Sophia. Ay, duha ka Sophia. Jabel Habel. Is she here? Okay. Okay. Kana sa ta mag-ignoring. Mm. Mm. Okay. See, so for ignoring, it's more on kanang. Okay, so there are two types. Ignoring ka for behavioral purposes and ignoring for self-regulation. Okay? So if behavioral ang kid, kay kaget mo if behavior of sensory seeking ang kid or ASD. Asa na yung kuan din yung mga noun, wait lang. Okay, so does everyone get kanang sa difference between mo hilak na ang kids? Ang SI kanang ma-overwhelm sila sa marag stimulus na imong gi-try provide mo nang mahilak sila, di ba? And then behavioral kay basic behavioral ng manipulative kids. Okay? Okay, so for SI, that's why we ignore. This is to help them self-regulate their emotions. Okay, so if, for example, for me, my SI kids, kay akong gi-bombard og sensations or like sensory inputs, masugod na siya hilak kay I know they are overwhelmed with activity. So what you do is just you just back off or you let them kanang regulate their emotions. So pahilakon sila, if di jud sila mo stop og hilak kay that's the time nga you try to modify your environment or lessen pa jud sa murag unsay mga nakapa trigger sa ilahang meltdown. Okay, so for maladaptive kids, behavioral na ni sila. So this is the time nga di ra nimo sila tagdon. Because there are some kids you know the more you try to kanang be firm or be strict. So di ba na may mga kiapton dyan ng bata. So if mo strict ka na nila, mugara man na sila. Okay? So this is the time nga if masini mo nga murag gara ra jud ilahang pagka-maladaptive, then dinha na ka mo ignore. Ignore jud ka maski giunsa na ka dira gisumpag na ka, just ignore. Okay? They will eventually realize. You just need to make sure if behavioral jud or kanang sensory seeking ang imong kid ha. So if behavioral jud kay they will eventually realize nga what they are doing is not nice if you ignore. Okay, you can provide that. Okay, time out. So this is giving the child some alone time or distance. So it must be less than 5 minutes and the parent or guardian or the therapist must do processing and feedback afterwards. So do not kanang provide this sa kanang mga non-verbal na mga kids. Okay? Sa kanang mga do not provide this to mga ASD nga mga kids nga they don't really understand what's happening because it would be traumatic for the kid. Okay? So time out is for kids nga murag high funk nga makasabot sila on what you are doing to them. Okay? So for me, di kay ko ako na pagka-therapist kay di kay ko in favor aning time out. So murag dili na. I don't use it often. Okay? Pero and last BMT resort is the dark room. Ang pasabotan ng dark room is imo sila isud og kanang dark na area, dark room. Legit yun. So, di ba, it's very traumatic in some way for the kids. And di kaya siya advisable, no? So, I do my best to kanang dili ko mag-time out. Pero if intense na jud ng kid, time out na lang. Okay? Okay, so scheduling reinforcements. Okay, so we have continuous reinforcement and partial reinforcement. For continuous reinforcement, it is the desired behavior is reinforced every single time that it occurs. Okay, continuous reinforcement schedules are most effective in trying to teach a new skill. Okay? So if wala pa siya kay ana, then ha ka mag-continuous reinforcement. Gamay lang niya nga buhat, maski dili pa jud perfect, gamay lang niya nga buhat sa, for example, toothbrushing. Toothbrush, the moment nga mo-touch siya ana, maka-grip siya for a period of time, mo ka na, provide na ka og reinforcement. So gamay lang jud, provide reinforcement. This is to encourage the child to really how I can continue what he is kanang learning ba since bago pa man. Sige tag-reinforce. Partial reinforcement, this is what I told you earlier, if like na to sa mga ika-15th na session, partial na lang. So every, like for example, for every 3 good behaviors or 3 good tasks, kay mo provide na ta og reinforcement. Okay, so dili na siya all the time. So muna siyang partial reinforcement. Okay, fixed ratio. So for fixed ratio, a response is reinforced. Oh, joke. Fixed ratio dito akong giingon kanina. I'm sorry. So partial reinforcement, kaya the response is reinforced only part of the time. So dili siya all the time. Kanang di siya kay bao if when niya mag-give, ay when siya makadawat ana nga reinforcement in order for the child to keep on doing it. Para kanang na may uban gud na manganad sila and dili na nato kanang it's not good na if maanad ang kid nga kada buhat niya something na siya reward. Okay? Like for example, kita if maghimo tag IE, wala na betay reward. So, inana na siya. So, nana siya yung murag extinction gamay. So, nagkahinay-hinay na ta og give o reinforcement. So, more on nagka-fade na atong reinforcements here. So, for fixed ratio, mo niya akong i-explain earlier, like for example, every 3 tasks na siya usa ka reinforcement. Ana. This kind of schedule results in high, steady rates of responding. They are persistent in responding because of the hope that the next response might be the one needed to receive the reinforcement. Okay. Next is the variable ratio. So a response is reinforced after an unpredictable number of responses. Okay, so wala siya kay bao kanus siya mo give ana nga kaya siya mahatagan o reinforcement. Okay. Fixed interval. So the first response is rewarded only after a specified amount of time has been elapsed. Okay. So the difference between ratio and interval, ang ratio kay this is the amount. So 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, ang fixed interval, it is a time span. Okay? So if naka-wait ang kid for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that is the interval. Okay? So nanay times si interval. Okay, so fixed kay every 5 minutes you give a reward. Variable kay dili siya may bawan when ka mo give, in what time. Okay? Unpredictable. Okay, so mo na dito siya ang last. so mo to siya. Nakagets siya sa intervals o ratio. Kasagaran mo na siya i-ask in Greva. Okay, so okay, Ra? Is everyone good na? Does anyone have questions before we move forward to therapeutic use of self?
Miss, naka-question, Miss.
Okay, go.
Miss, unsay difference sa partial reinforcement o sa variable ratio schedule kay niya nakato nga ang partial reinforcement kay more in dili balo ang kid when siya tagaan.
Mm-mm.
Same with
Okay.
the variable ratio schedule is wa pud kabalo ang kid kung when nimo siya tagaan. Like,
Okay. Okay. So, murag similar ra sila in some way. So to variable ratio, no? Okay. So for variable ratio, kay nag-specify siya og amount like 3 times, 4 times, ana. So wa siya kay bawen. If dinhi pa ta sa mga partial reinforcement, again, it's like kanang hindi tawag ganing usar siya ka hindi sa ko explain jud ani. Pero usar siya ka marag taas gani. Diba? Wait let me compile my guy. Kay mo sa niya kung gilibgan katong internship ko. Okay, so marag sugod pa siya sa reinforcement. Marag basically continuous is similar to mga kanang kuan naman gyapon fixed, 'di ba? Similar sila kay murag kada nay ana kay mo iyahang ibuhat ratio, 'di ba? So murag ang kanang continuous under ana kay silang mga fixed kanang ana. Kay you will know how ay like kapilaon siya or like kanang kanus ang iyahang next. So more continuous siya. Ang partial, you never know. It's same with the variable ratio and variable interval. Okay? So you will never know when na sila mag-give. Okay? So that's it. Kinsa pa may lain question?
Mas naka-question.
Yes, go.
Katong kagahapon ba, we had a pre-assessment exam and naato sa usa ka ang usa ka answer is restitutional and why ba if unsa na like unsa pasabutan namin sa how do we use that man
Unsa?
restitutional like appeal man siya sa answers like we thought wala siya appeal kay wa mo I don't know sa uban pero ako wala ko ka batian or basig wala ko ka remember manana siya sa mga BMTs.
Restitutional. Wait, mo na siya ang correct answer?
Yeah.
Unsa ang
Right.
question?
Wala akong quick copy sa exams.
Pero like basically, unsa ang
Kuan man to kanang example man to siya, miss.
restitutional?
kuan siya, Miss, kanang murag na siya giguba niya gipa-arrange sa to a specific kuan like arrange to as
I-arrange?
by size niya, by color.
Yeah. Okay, so na siya, pero inig-review na lang. Paduwa na lang, Bert. Okay, so kalimut ako na kay more on higher level ng gano'n siya. Pero, wala na sa knowledge boards. Tawag na sa Google board exam. Pero, ang sitaw ganing restitute, na siya marag arrange. Oh, bitaw de. Sige, I will go back to my notes. Okay, higher. Ang sakit sige exam ninyo. Ano. Kitso na. Silang parel. Dapog kung dito na ako parel.
Ay, miss, kanang
Sama.
ni-ask ko ni Miss Sam anak gahapon. And then, ang ingon siya kay mga siya positive practice, but ang sa positive practice kay giguba man to niya ang blocks. So, like, positive practice kay like, ipa-arrange yung gani ang blocks. But if restitutional daw kay
Kay
like, na
na
condition,
specific.
like, according to color, according to...
There you go. Muna siya, guys. Muna siya. Actually, muna siya. Munang sakto dyan. Pero, again, inig-review na ninyo. Ma-learn na ninyo. Promise. Nakapasa naman sa boards na pag-review na nakanimo. Pero, Yes, that's it. Good job, Bianca, for recalling. And good job, Jillian, for recall. Okay, next. Ate, nakalimutan ko na. Pero, ilang. Tawara ta. Okay, next. Can say like question. Wala na. Okay, let's... Di na ko ma-view tanan people. Okay, goods na goods. Thumbs up. Okay. Let's move on to... Ay, gusto ganda mo. Okay, let's move on to TUS. Okay, or mag-TUS or so may mga difficulties ninyo sa TUS? Uy, kinsa tong no demand na group? Ganin na? Raise your hand. Kinsa ka no demand? Ang no demand ha kay di ka mo demand. So, ayaw hatag extra. So, basically, sige mag-discuss na lang tayo. Wait lang. Mag-discuss tas no demand. So, basically, easier, pero self-explanatory naman sa na siya ang mga ingunan na. And you would really just know in an internship track. Okay? I'll discuss. Okay? We will end by mga 2:30. Okay. Earlier ta. Wait lang. Alright. Let's start our slideshow. Okay, kita ra ko screen. Alright. So let's start with therapeutic use of self. Okay, so let's first define what TUS is, the purpose of TUS, the different types of TUS, and the characteristics you need in order to maka-establish mo good nga TUS. Okay, so TUS is the therapist's conscious, planned interaction with the individual, family members, significant others, and caregivers. Okay, you all know that, diba? Basic na siya. So this is to provide assurance and or information, give advice, alleviate anxiety and or fear, obtain needed information, improve and maintain function, promote growth and development, and increase the child's coping skills. Okay, so there are a lot of, before you start your session, so one way to magkuan pa man, magtimpla-timpla pa mo sa kid. Okay, so there are some kids nga ka-infirmness, okay na sila. Some kids dapat active friendliness. Some kids need ka ng firm jud na therapist. Okay, so during your first kanang interaction with the kid, dili jud na siya necessary nga treatment lahos. So it's really kanang establishing rapport. So what I do during the first session is just free play. So imurang ipabuhat rin mo ang kid niya. Musuway kag butt-in gamay just to know unsa nga type of approach imuhang i-try to provide. Okay, so this is why I'm telling you you really don't need to worry with regards to treatment sa face-to-face. Kay di na pa man, like, di kayo siya book-based yun. Promise. Okay? Book-based siya if pangutan-on mo o mga questions sa inyong CS. So din ha na siya ma-book-based. Okay? Next, we will be discussing the different types. Okay? So first is active friendliness. So this is for patients that are withdrawn and apathetic. So therapists will be more verbally supportive, show initiative. Basically, kay ba naman sa na wala na problema. Okay, so passive. This is for patients who has distrust with others, withdrawn, confused, frightened. Miss si Sanders. Okay ra na do. Ayaw lang kan. Sanders, you will be fine. Salig lang sa inyong mga co-interns. Kamu ay hatagin ninyo copy sa mga wait lang. Tagin ninyo copy niyo mga co-interns ha. Sendan lang itong copy ani. Try. Okay. For a while. All right, here. So your goal as a therapist is to assure that they will always um, you will always be there for them and engage with patient activities, engage the patient into the activities. Okay, so passive lang. Like, dili kay ka hi, hello. Like, na may, kung ano ka, murag neutral ra ka ani nga stage. Okay? So for kind firmness, this is for depressed individuals with suicidal tendency, uncooperative, unmotivated, and have trouble making decisions or disinterest. So kani, dini na murag mo provide ka og structure. Okay? Structured activities na inyong i-provide here. And for example, for depressed patients, wala dyan na sila gana. For kids nga murag, ang imong kids nga akong ibot ang murag depressed kay kanang wa sila gana mo buhat og anything. Pero they can perform. Okay? Maka-perform sila if firm jud ka. So with kind firmness, you provide the activity and imo silang i-push to perform the activity. Okay? Kanang you know nga they are able to perform it ra jud. Okay? So kani no demand. Kinsa tong no demand? Okay, so basically ang inyo ra buhaton there is a no demand is just to show your presence. Nga nara ka there and for kids nga no demand, usually I associate this with free play. So marag same ra na siya with free play nga. You just let the kid do whatever they want. Okay, so for pedia, especially for kids nga nag-early intervention or napa sa sensory motor na stage, then dinha pa ka maka-perform og mga chill na mga activities because you will just let the child do whatever they want. Okay? So, imagine na makakwarta ka, niyang bata ay gadua. Diba? So, bonus ka na siya for OTs. So, mo nang magpidya naman. So, na siya. Kana, inana ra. So, just make them feel that they are safe. And this is also to establish rapport. Okay? To establish the child's trust towards you. Because if kanang first meeting, in ano ni if first meeting, grabe kay kag demands, murag di na siya ganahan mukuan. And then ang kaning mga kids pa jud guys, kay grabe kini sila mong dumot. So murag kabaw jud na sila unsa kay like for example na may nakoy kid nga murag akong try nga structured ra kay yung first, the next sessions sige na siya hilak. Kay the moment nga mingsud siya sa therapy area, naka-remember siya nga unsay nahitabo. Like grabe kayong demands for him. So naghilak siya. So what I did, ning balik ko back to zero, no demand, and I let him perform whatever he wants. And then wala na siya ning cry after a few sessions. Pero taon-taon dito, like months dito. Pero he will recover. Munang it's really good nga from the beginning pa lang, no demand lang saka. Okay? And if kanang ma-comfy na ang kid nimo, dinha na ka maghinahinay o provide og structure. Okay? Ano? Okay, matter of fact. Yes?
Next question.
Yeah.
Kana naglisod mi ganina amo ato group kay teleman and then so if
Yeah.
inana na tele kay tan-awon ra na mo ang kids sa screen.
What you could do is, okay, understandable. But like if kanang no demand gani, what you do is you try to incorporate activities with kanang kay kato ganina man inyong activities inyong gipasuwat og ABCD, di ba? So what you do is just to provide different kanang for example toys or like kanang more on facilitation pa ka. Okay? So like kanang this is more info talk inana. Okay? Marag inyo pang i-introduce og some things, introduce to the different explorations. You can also kanang encourage the mom to like let him play like with other things. So more on exploring ra ka on say mga kuan. So just dili lang jud o provide og structure. Pero okay na to ang first part nga murag imo sa i-encourage og right and then wala rin mo pugsa. So that's good. Pero just try your best not to provide super structured activities nga kanang from A to B, dapat kaniya do. Okay, so if dili jud kaya, just ayaw jud i-push. Ano. Okay? Okay, and also with no demand, just try to provide activities nga kanang gamay, like for example, ito to yung letters to, diba? From 10 letters. So, if the kid will know nga, for context sa tanan, since wala, dili tanan nakikita. So, basically, i-provide sa therapist kay ipa-write og letters, and then, kanang koan. So, for me, as a kid, makahear lang ko nga 10 letters imong ipabuhat na ko, even if wala ko nimo gi-push to finish it, kay murag ma-overwhelmed ra gihapon ko because it's a lot. Okay? So, just try nga murag one lang sa, and try if makakupot ba jud siya og pencil, murag inana ba? So, inana lang ang no demand. Ayaw kayo provide og highly, kanang i-bombard nimo siya og activities ba. So more on introduction lang sa on some parts. Okay? Pero in some aspects kay correct ra sa to nga wa kaning pugos sa activity. Pero more to i-lessen lang gamay ang murag demand ato. Okay? Get ra?
Yes, miss. Thank you, miss.
Okay. So matter of fact, kay magminal dita. Patients who always complain, who manipulate you, and may active hallucination for psych na ni. For matter of fact, kay basically you just present facts. Like kanang mo man ni ang for psych na kayo ni siya, dili kay ni siya mo kuan for kids. So you just try to redirect the patient to their current task and to follow rules for reality orientation activity. So dili kay ni siya for pedia ang matter of fact. Okay? So characteristics of therapeutic use of self. This is the last slide already. So para mas ma-establish ninyo ang kuan, you really have to have these characteristics. So perception of individuality and uniqueness. No nga kanang each client of yours, especially even if like same na sila condition, ASD or ADHD, they all have different personalities and how they cope up with what you're trying to instill from them. Okay, so just keep in mind that, like for example, I have two ADHD kids. They all have the same qualities pero different ang ilahang murag pag-receive sa type of kanang therapy nga ako i-provide. Okay, so different ako approach for them. Always know nga each kid is different. Okay, so morning akong gikuanin niyo as I mentioned earlier nga dear jud mag-ol kay different ra jud. Okay, so you need to have respect, empathy, and compassion towards your patient, humility, unconditional positive regard, honesty, flexibility, self-awareness, and humor. Okay, so unsa ning unconditional positive regard? Can I have Miss Janelle Malazar to tell me what this is?
I'm not sure, Miss, pero mag-try ko.
Okay.
For me, unconditional positive regard is that even though, let's say, murag maldito jud og dating ang child, di siya maminaw nimo or something, kay you still treat that child like normally as if he were, as if na behave jud siya, or like mo try jud gihapon kag help niya ba even though di kay siya maminaw nimo sometimes. Naadjay positive regard gihapon sa child.
Yes, so dapat taas jud kay tag patience with our patients. Kay lisod yun yung unconditional positive regard, especially if like super behavioral in yung kids. Okay? And for like treating your kids, I think, stop share na ko ha. Okay. For a while. Okay, for treating your kids, especially face-to-face naman kuan lang, I suggest na kanang mo seek lang sa mo guidance sa inyong CS. Okay, there are really things nga we cannot teach you through webcam lang. Okay, so I would be providing, ambot if PD ako na assign, pero kanang daghan na, like kanang pinning down, na ipin down ninyo ang kid. Kaya ba na, ay, na may idea kung saan yung mga inana. Okay, mo give lang ko short background ha. And, okay, napatay 30 minutes. Okay, pamutanan. Kinsa man tong mga nagkuhan. Alright. Clear, asa mo stay clear? Nag-restaurant mo? Okay. So, with behavioral kids, there are really different approaches, no? Especially if like kanang, for example, imuhang mga positioning or more on patient handling. So, like for example, mga small nga table, small chairs. So what you do is you trap murag ang legs sa kid in between niya imuhang murag mo inyong i-trap. Basta, so mga ingon ana, I think it's really kanang ma-apply na jud ninyo sa clinics or like just never hesitate to ask your CS on the different on how to handle it. Kay since teleraman inyong exposure, then it's really understandable. So really, chill lang jud. Okay? So na may aside from pedia, ano sa inyong mga fears pa so that I can forward it to the next one. Any fears or like ano sa inyo ganahan learn?
Miss, like magpupog yapon ko sa Brigans yun.
At utro pod ko day. Pero ang unsay tawag aning kanang ang Brigans, it's okay, Brigans. Okay, so Brigans is just used for your IE. Okay, so imo rang for example, unsa man imong gilibgan how to use it?
Yes, pud miss niya ang katong numbers bitaw sa kilid kay may confusing kayo.
Okay. So ang kanang number sa kilid ang age na sa kid. Ha?
Like ano miss, like example, scissoring anya kani nga age. So dapat ingani nga age makabalo na siya ani nga skill.
Wait,
Ana siya,
open
miss.
ko sa akong Briganza for a while. Basically, mo na siya. Ano? Wait, I will share.
Night times miss nga ang numbers bitaw kay pabali.
Okay, so murag inyo rin ng tansya. Wait. Asa man to? Wait lang ha. Here. Kita ya? Ada. Okay. So, Brigands. Kani, makita ninyo akong adara. Yeah. So, for example, 0 to 1, mo na 0 to 1 year old na siya. Okay, so more on years. Ay, wait. Saan man ako pagkuhan niya? Dili sad ko kay bawo ma-explain. Pero, ang tawag ganing, for example, here lang, kani 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. Gets mo? Kaning number, di ba? Muna siya. So, for example, if 4-year-old inyong kid, din mo matanaw, if makastand siya more than, ang kani, adara guys, kani niya gilibgan? Or dili? Ang kani? Kaning nasa left or kaning nasa right?
Explain lang sa daw ang rightness.
Okay. So, kani siya, muna siya ang more expected of a 4-year-old. 4-year-old hantod, 5-year-old siya. Okay? And then, for example, muna siya, kutob 5. Ang kaning 5-year-old hantod mo 6 siya. Muna siya ang stands on underfoot for 10 seconds. Okay? Next, let's try kani. So, basically, for example, no 1-year-old is expected to ana-ana. So, if 2 years old siya, anya wala ay for example mga 1.9 na siya, wala pa siya ingon ani okay ra kay murag hantod pa man ni siya 2 years old murag iyang range ba. Okay? So kani 5 year kani ang kani guys 1 year 6 months na siya. Gets it? Ay, yung mga na. Ay, kani 1 year 6 months. So 1 year old mo niya makuan. 1 year old and 6 months kani yang mga perform. 2-year-old kani if bali miss like 0 to 4 dili di ay months. Wait, you mean here? This one? Yes, this is months. Guys, iko ano sad guys? Awa ha. 7 years old di pa ka lift sa head. Imagine na daw. Kamu daw. Bi. So months jud na siya for sure. Okay? So kaning brigands na siya common sense. Common sense. Pero ang 0 to 10, very good. Kinsa to ning chat na ko. Pero very good mo na siya. 0 to 10, 10 months. Okay, let's go down here. Sakto ra din. Oh, very good, Mariah. Mariah Carey. Okay, here. So here. Okay, balik agara. Very good. 0 to 1 month old. So place fist in mouth, basic mga activities. Okay, so during your IE, inig-IE ninyo, what you do is, for example, 3-year-old kid, so dere ka. So mga dere nga area, 3.6. So if muna inyohang i-compare, and then inyong inanabay na inig-assess ninyo kay murag feel ninyo na pa siya diri nga level. So yang unsa gali ng term na gestational age o developmental ba na ay chronological age niya is 3.6 pero iyang developmental stage kay kani if miss bali if ma-bracket jud siya mini expected siya makaduan na within the range. Asa nga bracket? Kaning kuan? Kaning may nani?
Like kuan means like kanang di ba na age na like 3 to 6 and then sa side na yung mga like unsay madu like kuan ba means like if masud siya na kuan kay expected siya na it could happen like at any age between like from 3 to 6
Di niya siya, kuan ni siya ha? 3 years, 6 months.
Huh?
Kuan ni siya guys. 2 years, 6 months. Dili ni ay kanang kuan na siya. Kay awa na pa ang 4 diri. Hello, Dara?
Okay. Pero okay, G, okay.
So kanang this is why what I did during internship, I really printed this out. Okay, if ever PDF siya, like for example, what we're doing right now, okay, libog pa siya ish. Pero as you can see, if atong i-zoom out, okay? Ano? So if atong i-zoom out, kaning kuan, let's focus more on block tower. If you can zoom out, kay muna siyang ages niya. Okay? So 1.6, 2-year-old, 2.6 years old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and 5 years old. Okay? If wala na siya, like for example, kani, Kotobra 5, it means nga by the age of 5 to 6 years old, dapat maka-complete na siya block tower. Okay? Nag-gets, sir, guys? Or blurry gyapon siya slide. Hello?
Medyo na-gets na slightness.
So
Okay.
bali, for example, kanang two, kaning build a 6 block tower
Ah,
until like builds an 8 block tower. So from 2 years old to 3 years old na. Ay,
builds ani?
builds a 6 block tower day until builds an 8 block tower. Bali from 2 years old to 3 years old na siya, miss. Or
Oh,
two.
oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so inigay ninyo, mura ni inyo hang murag kanang mura ni inyong tapat. Nakakuha na ba mo, naghimo na ba mo IE? Lahi naman inyong form, di ba? So, naparo ninyo ang murag developmental stage. So, the child is expected to chu by 3 years old. Nya, unsayahang developmental na stage. So, the child is currently in kaning the developmental stage of a 1-year-old. Diba? So, tapad ba na ninyo inyong IE ninyo, di ba? Okay, so muna siyang gamit sa inyong brigands. Okay? So, in instances nga wala na siya, it means, like for example, na mag-ask na po nga ka ng, what if, kuha na miss? What if 8 years old na? Niya, wala na siya dali. Di ba? Ang last na age aning brigands kay mga kuan man, guro. Mga 8. So, you can provide other assessments na. Okay? Pero, if what you could see, kay, for example, 8-year-old, wala na siya sa brigands na level, pero iyahang developmental stage na sud pa sa brigands, din ha, na ni mo siya ikuan. So, the way you try to document it is, for example, pre-handwriting, kutober siya 6 years old, di ba? So if your child is 8 years old and then nakakita ka nga na pa siya sa 4-year-old nga developmental stage. Okay? So what you do during sa imong IEE kay the child is expected to kanang be independent with pre-handwriting or like kay bawo na siya mo pre-handwriting. Like expected nga okay na siya. Mutapad anak kay kanang the developmental stage of the child is still 4 years old nga inyong i-explain unsa ang gipang butang dira para murag ma-inline siya sa activity sa current kuan sa keep current kana siya current activity. Okay? Isa pa.
Miss, pwede pa apil sa Greenspan og-explain? Kaya medyo malibog pa bitaw po to.
Greenspan for a while na. I'll try to search if not with Greenspan. May copy sa Greenspan?
Na, after murag, naglibog may miss if, naglibog ko miss if asa jud ani na copy. Murag na-download raman to.
Na may murag katong social developmental, no? O ba na?
Socio-emotional.
Ang butaan na po ba ko'y copy na? Social emotion. Wait lang ha. Ay, pakita na ko sa inyong copy. Can you like screen share? Kinsa tong ning storya kanina.
Okay, wait lang miss.
Okay, go.
Naglibog ko kay duha man ni kabukod miss.
Mm-mm.
Ko which one? Wait, ako screen share. Ako say open.
Mm-mm. Pero mo man ang always, sometimes, frequently, no?
Yes, miss.
Wala mong gikuanan ani ni Miss Bea Max.
Murag gitudlon, ambot naglibog ko gitudlon pa mi or pumotong katong on leave siya kay Fergie siya mga time.
Okay.
So mo ni siya ang first miss kaning observation chart. Kani siya.
Mo ni siya kung igamit katong ako.
Pero naputoy usa miss mo na naglibog ko. Wait, ako na lang i-share screen ako whole screen na lang.
Sige, go. Greenspan.
Kani siya duha miss as siya. Marag different or naglibog og different siya or same similar lang siya miss.
Mm-mm.
Growth observation chart ang isa niyang isa kay questionnaire.
Yeah. So, kaning questionnaire, it's for the parent to answer.
Mm.
And then, ang kaning observation kay, I think kita na ani. Kay, as I remembered, OT 106. I-download. Downloads. So, kana siya for the parent ang kaning questionnaire. They are the ones who are usually seeing the kid. Kaning observational, mo ni siya ang imuha kay na may murag reassessment, di ba? As you can see at the first part, saka gamay see. So date check. So this is how you will assess the progress of the kid. So,
Okay.
so for example, first ninyo IE, i-check nimo if na siya na mga kuan. Ano. So you kaning imong questionnaire is just a backup for the kuan observation nimo.
Okay. So ang bali ang duha jud i-use ana miss if ever mag
Pwede ra
Greenspan.
gudi. Kanang di kanirang kuan ako gigamit man. Okay, so for your kanang rotations na I joke internship pa man din. Pero pwede mo gamit either or ani. Okay, as long as pero mas dali man niya siya i-kuan good kaning si observation, mas dali siya kanang document. Mas
Okay.
makita sa nimo ang progress sa kid.
Okay. Thank you miss.
Ayaw na mo aning taas-taas ng mga assessment tools guys. Maluoy mo sa inyong kagalingan. Okay, so ang miss, lagi ako Greenspan patay. Kinsa man eh? Asa mo ha, Patricia?
I can share screen mine, miss. Wait lang.
Kadaghan ba niya? Ano man niya?
Mine is this one. Inani yung naong though. But I feel like, I don't know, same raba.
Kana sad miss nasad mi ani.
Nasaan mo ani?
Yeah.
Nasaan
Sa
niya
dunay
ni para
katulo.
wa na ako igamit.
Pero more gapon ni
Kay
miss.
ko na CS eh. Pero like ka nang kuha na siya. Ato lang usa gamit eh.
Okay.
Pero nani siya, nakay kuha na niya? Nakay marag manual?
Kanin siya, miss, I think, katong pag second year ni namo, like, gi-share ni Miss Ching namo.
Yeah. So Miss Ching said that. Pero, there are really other assessment tools that you really need a manual. Like, for example, sensory profile. Whole college life na ko sa iyo pa akong pag-compute sa sensory profile. Okay, kay, orag, ang gihatag rasad kay pinainana ra ba? Nga kanagaling ang questionnaire itself. And we didn't, I di ta kay baon sa ang proper way of computing. Diba? So, just stick with the kuan na lang. Kato lang usa. Or pwede, i-ready na ninyo. Basta just, nabay ka ng kuan, Pat. Can I call you Pat? Nabay siya ka ng marag scoring and assessment underneath the tool.
Wait lang, miss. Nasya ka ni siya. This one. I think more ni ang nasa. It's like that's the last one.
Para i-chill lang daw mo screen. Ano? Okay. So, yeah, just use the kuan kay murag nani if ingon ani na mga noun no kay nana sila yung murag kanang manual for us to really properly assess it. Okay? Okay, ne. Okay na ta with the kuan? Developmental chuchus? Isa pa may questions diya. Nan. Okay, so unsa man Okay, last 10 minutes. Kasi tawag ganing, laginaw ta ng time per char. Unsa man ang kuan, mga ikagulan ninyo karon? Your validas, inyong mga kuan. Kagool. Kinsa man ni? Jillian. Ah. Di tanan, oh. Gusto lang. Zaman. Zaman ninyo mga hinanakit ra na eh. Uy, istorya ko nung. Ano, sige ra mo, smile.
Yes.
Mm.
For the notes, mas po kay ang final na 4 p.m. ang deadline.
Joke ra bitaw ng notes. Gicharchara na ako kay unsay tawag kanin. Kanang ang inyong mga kanang silang Miss Mar ba kay pangutan-an ko di ta gani ko mag-feedback. Pero basic So, ayan na lang mo pag-notes. Pero kaya ba naman ka mo mag-notes? Bi, kinsa man yung ako ipakita sa ilang notes, Bi? Bi. Unsay wala pa naman. Gahapon, unsa man inyong notes gahapon? Unsa oy, di ko kadungog. Wa mo gipa-notes kahapon?
Kanang sa notes miss kay nag-feedback ni gahapon sa IE sa mga IOTN pero IE jud among gi-focus miss then today kay gipamake mi og assessment form og OT notes, IOT notes. Initial OT notes.
Ako yung nagpahimo ato man.
And then kuan miss kanang gapon kay nadugay mi og finish sa mindfulness training miss manan. Nag-project test kami kaniya.
Okay. So, for your notes, can I see a sample? Kinsay strong-hearted yan ang magpakita na kung sample sa inyong notes? Ano yung sa ikaw be Mark? Nakay utin note sample niya. I'll just assess the formatting and everything.
For IEMS, I'm not sure if I have a pedia sample.
OT notes for pedia. Notes. Not
Daily notes, miss?
Daily notes. Better is kasabon niya kong data.
Wait for a while, miss. Because for PDMS, it was by group. So I might have to show a sample of our groups.
Okay. Pwede.
Okay.
So, silent man. Kasi tawagan ni, ready lang, pag ready lang. Kanang inyong notes ba, magdepende na siya sa mga CS ninyo. So, if maka-timing mga ako yung CS, wala ko'y problema sa notes. Pero, for example, kanang silang searched, name drop, pero kanang sila, ay, ambot if kinsa pa na, pero nanay uban nga strict sa notes. So, what you do, like I always did pag intern ako, kay just to adapt for each kan. So, ang first ninyo nga notes, bahalag dugo na siya nga. So, ang pasabot ang dugo, kay daghan of corrections, kay red man na ballpen nilang gamitin para check. No? So, it's okay if kay no matter how hard you try sa notes, it will always depend on the CS. So, all CSs have different approaches on how to write notes. So, pero when you become a professional, like OT na jud mo, kay wala na may mo check sa inyong notes. So, okay na jud kayo. Kanang, so during your first days, muna akong tambag ninyo. So, during your first day of like internship, mo man jud mong notes. So, I lang ka-goal if daghan na corrections jud. Okay, just try your best to apply and kanang ayaw na i-repeat na same mistake ana nga rotation. Okay? Kaya naman dyan na draft nga notes, i-check man sa dyan sa CS. Pero, Mark, padayon na gihapon. Yung talaan ko sa inyo.
Um, I found one na miss. Okay, miss na name and everything, no?
Ah, oh, wala problema.
Okay.
Right, let's check. Up, sagod, up. Okay, down. Okay, so kaning chief complaint pwede ra jud Bisaya ha. Okay, mas kan. Goals. Behavior. Okay, down. Okay. Kaning sa work behaviors, you could, for example, sa inyong progress report, you would be having a progress report mansad. So during your OT notes, you could provide the grading. Okay, katong poor, fair, good. Kakuan mo ato. Okay, so para inig progress ninyo, di na mo maglisod kung unsay progress sa inyong kid. Okay, so never forget the grading. Ang kanang um, mga parts sa inyong notes nga na grading, kay use the grading lang jud as much as possible. Okay, down. Down. Okay. Nakakuha naman mo sa nag-LFTs mo gahapon? Yes? Okay. Okay, down please. Okay, down pa daw. Okay, so kani, sa inyong activities na part, some CSs would require a short ratio about the activity. So like 4 pics, 1 word. Okay, there are times nga we're performing an activity pero different atong approach. Okay, so for 4 pics, 1 word, kay diba, ang kuan ana kay unsa ang atong, like ang 4 pics niya, unsa ilang similarities, diba? So there are different approaches to the game. So just specify on what you perform. Okay? Very good. Good job. And also sa kaning murag assessment, guys, kay so provide unsa inyong gi-provide nga like given moderate prompts. Ay na. Okay, down. Kinakapoy na basa. Down. Rehab putan. Taasaan ni uy! Uy, swerte dyan kayo ma-intern ako dyan. Glagot ko inani ka ta. Pero, gisa-gigaw. Pabasahan ko ninyo, nagtuong mo, nagbasa ko. Walang ako nagbasa. Down. Okay. Preparatory acts. So, same or gihapon, provide a ratio. Okay, down. Dagan, nag-OT. So. Okay. Sige. Good na inyo hanggang. Muna na siya. Di na mag-all. So, there are kanang mga CS100 nga kanang specific. So, just try to adapt. The important thing about internship is you need to learn more about adapting to the different kind. Kaya maglahi-lahi mo nga settings, lahi-lahi inyong CS. So, just try to be heart-strong. Sa pailain, Mora, wala na mo any hinanakits? Diba? Ano nang duko naman mo tanong. Okay, wala na? Good na down so that we can end early. Na ba may other requirements after this? Na ba may other tasks? Okay. Sige, I'll just end it here para okay na tatanan. Early tamo out and good luck on your internship. Morning sa'yo, wag ko. Saan yung glory? Pero wala to. Pwede na akong manghawa. Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you,
Bye.
Miss.
Okay.
Thank you, miss.